In 2004, Mr. Speaker, I authored the provisions of law that created and required this position and the office that it leads at the State Department. H.R. 221 upgrades and strengthens the position to better anticipate, prevent, and mitigate and respond to threats against Jewish communities worldwide. H.R. 221 elevates the Special Envoy to the rank of ambassador, reporting directly to the Secretary of State. This would enable sufficient seniority and access inside the U.S. government and when engaging foreign governments. The bill requires the President to nominate a candidate no later than 90 days, and all the presidents from Bush to Obama and now, sadly, under President Trump have been very late in coming forward with that nominee. There was a nominee for the Special Envoy, but because of illness or a health crisis, that person was not named. But we, all of us, asked the President to name that person and to do so immediately. This bill requires it, like I said, to do it no later than 90 days after the bill becomes law, and no later than 120 thereafter whenever that position is empty. H.R. 221 forbids double hatting of the Special Envoy with duties irrelevant to combating anti-Semitism. The legislation also mandates the Special Envoy to be the primary advisor to the U.S. government on monitoring and combating anti-Semitism. Far too often, Mr. Speaker, over the decades, the U.S. government has put combating anti-Semitism, human trafficking, and religious freedom violations in the backseat of our foreign policy. That is why Congress has created offices and positions to ensure the United States is focused on fighting these evils. Over the past decade, there has been an unprecedented rise in anti-Semitic acts and rhetoric all over the world. Jews harassed, assaulted, and even murdered. Synagogues attacked, graves and cemeteries desecrated. Anti-Semitism slurs, Semitic slurs, plus targeting the State of Israel itself with the 3 Ds: demonization, double standard, and delegitimization, as my good friend, the great Soviet Jewish refusenik said it, and religious prisoner Natan Sharansky. The so-called BDS movement to boycott, sanction, and divest from and sanction Israel is one of the most pernicious examples of what Sharansky rightly called the new anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitic hatred is hardwired into the ideology of violent Islamic and white supremacist groups. But the evil goes beyond those perpetrators. Politicians, entertainers, and public intellectuals across the philosophical spectrum have exhibited anti-Semitism. Strong American leadership, therefore, is essential to battle this bigotry. Mr. Speaker, combating anti-Semitism, as I said earlier, has always been a bipartisan effort, and this bill did pass last Congress, 393 to 2. The text before us in the legislation is identical. I hope we have a very strong support of it, and the Senate hopefully will take it up, consider it, and pass it, and get it to the President. I yield back to Mr. McCauley.